Okay, recording in progress.
Sorry, I was in a really good conversation with my husband and didn't realize what time it was.
Okay, we're getting started. So let me read this. Optavia makes no guarantee. I know you all know this. Optavia makes no guarantee of financial success. Success with Optavia results from successful sales efforts, which require hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. Please see the income disclosure statement for statistics on actual earnings of coaches. Okay, I'm just going to do that because we're recording and I get a little nervous. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to kind of talk about, I really kind of want to dial in on that because I know we did we did a great training on how to help someone get to senior coach, but there's this little gap. Like, how do you help them after that? And then on to like ended ED, right? So we're going to talk about that. But I first want to, because another thing that we've really been talking a lot about with as a team is sponsoring coaches, and you all are having wins with us. But Keisha had she hit one out of the ballpark this week, and she just did all the steps, and it totally laid out. Keisha, will you share what happened?
Sure. Okay. Everybody can hear me okay, I hope, since I'm in my car. So, driving and Zooming, I do not recommend since we are recording. This week, on the heels of convention, I realized I need some more coaches on my team if I want to achieve what I want to achieve. So, started thinking about the clients that I'm helping who would be awesome coaches. And I have one client in particular who's a school counselor, and she's amazing, and she's a cancer survivor, and she's just an awesome human being. And I'm thinking, and she had actually reached out to me, and just the timing was great. She had reached out to me and kind of said, hey, during our weekly follow-up, she kind of said, I have a couple of friends in school that are asking me about plan, and, maybe we should get on a three-way call and kind of talk about it. And I said, hey, let's talk about you being their coach, because that could be amazing. I was like, hey, let me send you, do you mind if I send you a video to just take a peek at it? And then if it sounds like something you want to try, we'll get on the phone with Linnea and talk about it. And so I sent her the impact video because she is all about impact. And I think within a couple hours of me sending her that message, I had another message from her saying, yeah, I want to talk to you guys. And so we were on the phone with her, Linnea, within 24 hours, I think, or on the Zoom.
She had like two questions.
Yeah, she was great. Now, to my knowledge, she is not yet committed to be a coach or hasn't bought a coach kit, but I'm giving her, it's the beginning of school here in Indiana, so she's a little crazy and I'm a little crazy, so I'll follow up with her this weekend, but I have a good feeling. I think she's going to probably sign up to be a coach, and I would love to see her be successful just because she'll be an amazing coach. So that's it.
That was so good. It was so good. Thank you, Keisha, for sharing. You guys, did you hear what she did? First, she's like, oh, I have this person. And then she thought about how Optavia could fill her bucket, and it was impact. So when they connected and they kind of talked a little bit, and she kind of asked questions and learned, then she sent the impact video. She didn't send all the video. She just sent one video. And then it was a short call when we got on the Coach Explorer. Do you have any questions? She had one question. I don't even remember what it was. And then she's like, I think I'm good. But she did tell us that this week was busy, that she probably wouldn't get to it this week. So, but I think next week. So it's so fun. And like, if you're thinking, if you're listening to them and you're thinking about what they want and what they need, like a lot of times it does really work out that way, but it's just making that connection. Okay, I just had to share that because Monday I was like, dang, we've been working on this and talking about it, and Keisha just did it like straight down the line by the book. So it just totally worked out. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and jump into PowerPoint for today. Here we go. Okay, so what I really want to do today is I really wanted to take a dive deep and talk about, just kind of break it down how simple our business really is, because it really is pretty basic and simple. There's just a few basic things, and then it's rinse and repeat. My assistant said to me, what do I need to do this month? And I'm like, the same thing you did last month. Like, do all those things. So, okay, there we go. There are basically four cornerstones that you need to learn and transfer to other coaches. And they are client acquisition, client support, coach acquisition, and coach support. That's it. When you can do those 4 things, then you know the whole thing, really. That's the whole business. And it's apprentice style learning, right? You learn as you go. It all starts with that health assessment. In that health assessment, we're transferring skills. We have all this stuff in our head. We've got to transfer those things, those nuts and bolts, into our coaches. And the first thing that we transfer is that first thing, acquisition or client acquisition, client support. And that starts with the health assessment. You listen to them do 3, they listen to you do 3, right? And that training process duplicates through the whole thing. And, you know, we'll talk about it more, but it duplicates through the whole thing. So basically you have 2 jobs. Learn these skills and then learn how to transfer the skills, right? That's pretty much it. And you all, by the way, all of you are really great at client acquisition. I'm not saying we don't have periods where things look a little harder, and maybe sometimes we need to go brush up on some client acquisition and support skills, but you all know, and you know where to get the tools, you know how to do that stuff. And you're also, you know, some of you are really good at coach acquisition and support, and some of you are just getting started, and some of you are in that middle part where you don't know for sure that you know it, but you probably know it. So we're just gonna focus mostly today on what this looks like, because we've talked about coach acquisition, but today we're really gonna talk more about coach support, specifically after those senior coaches. See, I had to throw in a baby picture. Eva sent me this morning. He pulls the funniest faces. But anyway, when you have a baby coach, you do baby steps. And we did that whole training, right? About not fire hosing them and just giving them, walking them through little by little, giving them each little piece as they need it, you know, and at the same time, letting them know that they have a resource where all of it is. But that's really that whole baby step thing. Client acquisition really is branding after those health assessments are done, right? And so you're kind of walking them through branding. Although if you get them on Power Hours, then you pretty much did your job because they kind of go over all of it there. I mean, you help them with their Facebook and get them on Power Hours, or help them with their Power Hour recordings. That's pretty much all you have to do there. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about it, but I picture, just so you know, a baby coach is a coach who's just beginning and who is not yet a very strong senior coach, maybe even manager. All right. Once they're a manager, they know this stuff. Now, whether they're choosing to do it or not, but you've taught them, they know, right? I think we all can agree. Now, here's the thing. Are some of you feeling like a puppet master, or feeling like you just got to stick the gear in and wind your coaches up with your little senior coaches now, because you've been baby stepping them and now they're like, so now what? This is the thing. We get what we expect, right? We get what we expect. So if we expect them to always come to us for the answers, they're always going to come to us for the answers. So we kind of start to change the conversation. When they have a question, then we start to just kind of ask them, okay, well, what do you think is next? Where do you think you would find that? It's just like with our clients. We give them everything the first week, and then we're like, oh, you got to find that file in the Live Right group. And we teach them. It's the same thing with coaches. Once they're a strong senior coach and manager, we want to do that, because guess what? You don't want to be puppet masters. It's exhausting and you don't have very much time. How many of those can you really hold? You notice you can only do 2, right? You can only do 2 hands. What we need and what we want is for the coaches to take ownership over their own business, right? We all have to take ownership over our own businesses. If my business isn't doing well, guess whose fault that is? It's mine. It's not because Gina didn't tell me something. It's not because I didn't understand something. It's because I'm not doing the work, probably. Because imperfect action beats perfect action every time. So if something's not going right, I know I need to get into more action somewhere, right? And it's actually my job to figure it out. So in this phase between manager and executive director, that's what we're kind of doing. We're kind of trying to help them understand that they really do have the tools and that they can take ownership over their own business. They are in the driver's seat. It's super empowering for them, actually, super empowering. And I'll just tell you, they're going to make some wrong turns. So what? It's okay. It's actually better, I believe, to have a coach making a few wrong turns on the journey than to have someone that is always there wanting me to be the puppet master. Because I'm not going to be the puppet master. I don't have time to be the puppet master for everybody, right? And They don't really learn that way. It's the same with our clients. So here's the deal. You will get what you inspect, not what you expect. I think I said that wrong earlier. So you're going to get what you inspect and not what you expect, right? So what do you like? You want to inspect what you expect to see. So in this stage, if they're doing all of these things, they're likely going to find a few coaches. And look at this. From manager to ED, what they need to do is fill the funnel. They need more clients to take care of, right? They're practicing client acquisition and client support, right? Hopefully they're bringing every single client to both of the celebration calls, the week 1 call, the week 5 call. We want them to bring at this phase everybody to the client celebration calls because they don't know who's going to be a good coach. They don't know. And they also don't know how to drip coaching. They're probably going to learn from you from their FIBC on the call, on those celebration calls. But we want them to do that. We want them to jump on the Tuesday night training calls, hopefully live, if not the recordings. We want to go look at their Facebook, see what their Facebook looks like. Right? We want to somehow make sure they're calling their clients every week, right? That they're helping to coach their clients into a strong fat burn. And if they really want to grow something, we want to know, are they on power hours? Are they doing power hours? That some of the people can't be on live, it's okay, but are they going back for those recordings then? I'll tell you this, an integrated client will become an integrated coach. Means your best coaching prospects are the people who are on the Tuesday night calls, who are engaged in the community. If they're doing that now, it's so much easier for them to slide right into these other things, the coaching community, right? And an integrated coach will become an integrated leader. That means that you'll get a leader that's on the training calls, because guess what? I have lots of friends that they don't all actually do that. They don't all even go back and catch the recordings. People want different things. If you have coaches who aren't doing something, like say they're not dripping coaching or they're not sponsoring coaches, it's likely either a knowledge skill set, like they don't know something, they didn't catch it the first time or 5 times that we said, or it's a concept or a fear. Concept and fear is kind of the same thing, I think. And that includes sponsoring. So if they're not sponsoring, then they might not know how to drip. They may not be on training calls. They may not be inviting their clients to celebration calls, or they may be doing the invitation wrong. They may be telling their clients about it, and then their clients are like, I don't want to get on the call. So I don't know. They may not be integrated in our community. They may have stopped being active in the Live Right group as a coach. That happens too. Even if they were at one point, sometimes people are integrated for a while and then they're not integrated for something. Or they may have a fear or a concept about sponsoring coaches, right? I like to inspect their level of integration. If a coach wants something and it's not happening, that's my first step. I'm going to I'm going to look myself at their level of integration, right? If they're this phase right here, the first thing I'm going to look at for all of these things, right? Are their clients on celebration calls? Are they on the Tuesday night training? What does their Facebook and branding look like? Have they hidden their friends? Like all of those little things that we know about Facebook. Are they calling their clients? Are they offering that referral? I'm just going to kind of inspect over time what is happening in there. And then I might just ask, if they're not sponsoring, I might just ask them. Because if all of that seems to be in alignment, then I would probably have a conversation with them and say, hey, you have a lot of clients. Who do you think you would like to partner with? Who would be a good coach? And then I'm just going to not talk. I'm just going to listen to them and see what they say. Because if they have a concept, that's where it's going to come out. Oh, this woman, because she doesn't have time, or she doesn't need money, or I don't know if he'd want to. He doesn't like to talk to people. But that's not the client's concept. That's your coach's concept. And it is dripping down to their clients. And that's probably why they're not sponsoring. So ask the question and then just wait and see what they say. Now remember, power hours, because someone asked me this the other day. If you have a coach that wants to be a senior coach, that's their whole goal. They just want to make enough money to pay for their food, $300 to $500 a month. Then they 2 to 3 hours of power hours a week, right? So if that's their goal, that's it. If you're trying to encourage them to do more than that, and their goal is $300 to $500 a month, they probably, they may not do it and they may burn out. But I'll just give you a hint. If they get there and they're having fun and they don't feel like they're working more than they need to, they may be willing to do a little more. They may be willing to take another step, which is kind of fun. So a coach that wants to be an executive director and make $1,800 to $3,000 a month, that's 5 to 7 power hours a week. That's like one every day, maybe not Sunday, right? But if you have a coach that wants to be an FIBC and create $4,500 to $9,000 a month, then they need to do 7 to 14 power hours a week. That's 1 to 2 hours every day. Now, if you have coaches who are totally like, that's just totally off their radar, they can't imagine making $8,000 to $9,000 a month. They can't imagine it. They can't fathom it. They don't want to. All they've told you is they want to make $1,200. If you tell them to do 1 to 2 power hours every single day, they might turn off. That's a turn off because you're not hearing them, right? And they can go and look this stuff up. It's in Ecclesorg in the announcements. It says right there. But if you baby step them from one level to another, if they achieve one thing and say they're making $500 a month for several months, and then you're like, if you just did 2 or 3 more power hours a week, like one every day, you could work up to $1,800, $2,000 a month. They might be like, actually, I could see myself doing that. And then when they're making $2,000 to $2,500 a month for a while, you say, you know what? If you did 2 hours of power hours on some other day, you could actually work up to this other thing, this FIBC thing. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's still kind of baby steps. So when you're in this manager to ED thing, listen to your coaches, listen to what they want, and then help them get what they want. That's how you will get what you want. You help them get what they want. And PS, if you want to be a global or above, you're going to want to do 14 to 28 power hours a week. That's 2 or 3 power hours a day. So, okay, let's see. Next. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this a little bit. I like this little graphic. What is leadership? A leader is someone who inspires and motivates action. They usually have a can-do personality and strong leadership skills, right? Okay, so the difference between a boss and a leader. And I'm bringing this up because I kind of think, and this is on me, but when we're baby stepping these senior coaches, I think to our coaches, we kind of look like a boss a little bit. And I'm not sure that's wrong. But when that manager to ED thing steps in, we definitely want to set ourselves up to look like a leader to them instead of a boss. So here's the difference. Okay, I don't think even when you're helping a baby coach, you're never going to make demands. Like, let's not do that. There's no demands. We're always coaches. A boss relies on authority. I think when our coaches come in, they do see us as kind of authority because we've done it, they haven't, we have all the answers, they have none, right? But a leader will rely on goodwill. And that's where it comes into like knowing what's going on in your coach's world and being sensitive to that, right? Knowing what they want and coaching them to what they want. Of course, we never issue ultimatums. If you don't do this, I'm not going to coach you. That would be weird. But we do like to generate enthusiasm. I think everyone here is pretty good about that. A boss will rarely say I, but they'll say we and speak in terms of a team. We like to do this. We do that, right? That kind of a thing. A boss will use people. I will tell you, I don't think anyone here uses people, but I do think sometimes maybe our coaches feel like, or they may be afraid that we're using them to help us get to a certain rank. And so the opposite of use is develop people. That means you can't develop someone to something they don't want, right? So if they want to make $500 a month, then we develop them and give them the skills and the knowledge they need to create that and do that, right? That's developing people. A boss will take credit. A leader will always give credit. If you guys like build your coaches up, give them so much credit, do all the thing. As a leader, I am happy to accept the blame for whatever. I will, even if I don't think I'm at blame. Just accept the blame. I'm so sorry that happened. Like, let's see what we can do about it. Let's get, that's a leader. A boss will say, go do this. A leader will say, let's do this. Let's try this. I saw this thing in this training. Let's do this thing, right? A boss, my way is the only way. This is the only way to do it. A leader, well, there's strength in unity. We have found that a lot of us have learned from all these different leaders that when we do it this way, a lot of people got these results. And still, sometimes I have a coach that wants to go try something else. Fine, go do it, right? We'll watch and see what happens. Okay, let's see the next thing. Okay, I really, really like this. So as a leader, basically from manager to EAD, this is your job. Cheering them on, encouraging them, helping them fill that funnel, helping them grow. They have the tools for client acquisition. They know what to do. It's just inspecting what you expect, making sure all those things are happening, and you know in time it will happen. They'll go ED. But I really love this Oreo compliment thing, right? So, because we always, when we're giving feedback, I don't really like constructive criticism. I like feedback. And it helps, like a compliment, a real genuine compliment, something they're doing really well, maybe something that they were working on that they're doing really well on now. And by the way, I'm not super good at the Oreo thing. I'm trying. I've been trying for years. It is not the way I was raised to receive feedback. So it's really a stretch for me. I'm practicing. And then the constructive criticism, which I like to think of more as feedback. And you know what? In Optavia, what I hear leaders saying a lot that I really like, if I saw something in your business that would help you grow, if I saw something in your business that would help you reach this goal, would you want me to tell you about it? Because I think I see something. Can I share it with you? And then let them say yes. Sometimes they'll say no. One time Gina said that to me and I said, no, I'm not ready right now, but I'll call you back. I really did say that. It was actually like a couple months ago. And then I did call her back and then I did get it and it was fine because it doesn't, like if they're not ready to hear it, there's no point in saying it, right? Anyway, so ask them, hey, if I saw something, would you want to know it? I, by the way, usually say yes, but there was that time not long ago I did say, no, I can't hear it today. I won't. I'm not in the right frame of mind for that. And then end it with another compliment. It's so important. Tell them another one, by the way, I wouldn't tell them the first one again. Surely you can think of two. And you know what? It's really good if you have them like written down before you get on the call, because sometimes we get started talking and then we forget. Like just keep a Post-it or something and write it down, then get on the call with them and then you'll have it, right? Okay. I like that. Now, okay, this is the train station. One of the biggest mistakes I see, people get a senior coach and they just know they are going to be the best ED and the best Optavia leader. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying sometimes people are lined up to get on the train and sometimes they are not. And if they're not lined up to get on the train, the biggest mistake I see is people waiting for people to get on the train. They're just waiting. And the truth is, some people were on the train and then they stepped off. Maybe something's happening in their family, so they had to step off. You do not need to wait there with them, right? Some people are too scared. Maybe they got off the train. Maybe they were never really on the train. Maybe they got off the train because they were scared. They're not ready for the next thing. Maybe that's it, right? The truth is, you cannot successfully link arms with these people and drag them back on the train. Some of the people are walking by like they don't even know there's a train there. Some of them are just waiting for a better train to come by, right? Like they're just, I don't know. The thing is, if you try to link arms with them and drag them onto the train, they don't have ownership over their business. You're just setting yourself up for a situation where you're a puppet master for a long time. And that's not fun. I'm just saying it's not fun. You'll burn out. The truth of the matter is the train is going to come around again. The train's going to leave. And if you spend too much time trying to talk someone into getting on the train, well, then the train might leave without you. Furthermore, there are probably people getting on the train who are looking for you. And maybe you won't be there. Maybe you'll miss them. Right? And I don't care if this person is a family member or a good friend or whatever. I don't care if they're going to be like the next IPD this year. If they don't want to get on the train, they don't want to get on the train. And the fact of the matter is, it's not like this is a one and done opportunity. The train's going to come around again. And if you're on it, the next time it comes around, you'll be a better leader. You guys have probably all heard Gina say that Jen Morris said no a lot. But by the time Jen was ready, Gina was a better leader. That's because Gina did not hang out at the train station with Jen trying to help her and be her friend. Like she was trying to be her friend, but she just wasn't, like she was helping other people, right? Okay, so let's see. You don't want to waste time and energy waiting at the train. This is the biggest mistake I see. The biggest mistake. It's the biggest reason people aren't filling their funnel to find more coaches. It's the biggest reason why people aren't sponsoring more coaches that they need to reach their goals. It's the biggest reason. They're just waiting on these coaches that they know can do it. And I know they can do it too, but it doesn't really matter what we know. It matters what they know. And more importantly, it matters what they do. Okay. They actually have to walk themselves onto the train. Okay. I kind of beat that horse dead. All right. So now you've helped your coach become an executive director, right? They're super good. They're super good on client acquisition and client support. They have got that nailed down, especially by the time they have 6,000 FQV, right? And by the way, we don't want Optavia to set our limits. We really want them to be at 8,000, 10,000 FQV. Then you don't have to worry about your FQV, right? But at this stage, they're just getting ready and they're just starting to figure out coach acquisition and coach support, right? But guess what? The basic principles are the same. It's just like you listen to a brand new coach do 3 health assessments and they listen to you do 3 health assessments. You are going to train 2 or 3 of their first coaches for them using the business feed so they can watch what's happening, right? I mean, you're still going to call them on the side, but then you're going to try and have like a follow-up in the business feed so that the coach, the sponsoring coach, can see what's going on. Your ED can see what's happening. And by the way, this might start happening before their EDs, because the truth is, if they're following the system and they're doing celebration calls and all those things, and they're on trainings, probably they'll pop a couple coaches before. And so this process will start before. But I don't actually worry too much about helping my coaches. What I worry about from manager to ED is making sure they're doing all those things that we just talked about. Are they on the celebration calls? Are they, are there clients? Like all of those things that we just talked about. Now, when I get an executive director who has 8,000 FQV and has not sponsored a single coach, then I need to have a conversation with that coach, because there's obviously a concept, right? Or they're not on trainings, but there's probably a concept. And we got to figure that out, because they will burn out. They will absolutely burn out, because they'll start getting more referrals, they'll burn out. And so they need to understand they cannot, nor do they have to coach everyone themselves, just for their own health, honestly. And so, but this is the thing. So basically you're going to train a couple coaches, and you know how to do this, right? Because it's the same skill set. Now you're just transferring the skill. You know how to create a senior coach. This new ED does not know how. So you're going to do it for them. 2 or 3 coaches. Just kind of depends on, some coaches, you'll know 2 or 3. And then after that, they're going to train the coach, but you're still on the business feed watching and just helping here and there if they need it. But they're hopefully going to train it, because they watched you train a senior coach. Now you want to kind of be sort of a fly on the wall and watch them help a couple of their coaches go to senior coach. And by then they have 5 or 6 senior coaches. Guess what? They have 5 senior coaches. They're an FIBC. That's the whole business. And I really like this. You guys have probably heard this analogy. If you pull a string, it will follow wherever you wish. But if you push it, it will not go anywhere. Pushing it is like dragging someone onto the train. Okay. It won't go anywhere. It won't do anything. You think it will. You think that if you get them on the train, it will just take off. But that's not what happens. What happens is what happens with this string. So if you want to help your executive directors go to FIBC, and PS, you really do want that, it's the same thing. You're just inspecting what you expect. And I know a lot of people aren't here quite yet, but a lot of you are actually a lot closer than you realize. So again, you train the first couple of coaches and you watch while they train the rest, and inspect what you expect. Are their coaches on Tuesday night trainings? Which of their coaches are on Tuesday night trainings? Because if you have a coach in depth who's on Tuesday night trainings all the time, you want to know that coach. Like, you want to have some engagement there, because that's probably someone that will be a leader. If you have a senior coach that's not getting on all the Tuesday night trainings, maybe not, right? I mean, they could just be a baby kind of stepping along. But are your coaches, when you have a coach that's like, so you've trained 2 or 3 senior coaches, and now you're watching your coach train senior coaches, this is what you're inspecting. It's the same thing that you were expecting with your senior coaches. Are they teaching their coaches to be on trainings? Are they teaching their coaches are they doing the health assessment with their coaches? Are they baby stepping them? Are they leading them to the system, right? What does everyone's Facebook look like? That's how you're going to help your ED learn to train their new senior coaches. And you're really going to interact with your ED in your ED's business feed, right? And the truth is, at this phase, once they have a couple of EDs and they're starting to train coaches themselves, everyone in this business needs a lot of love and a lot of just encouragement, because it's discouraging. It can be discouraging, right? Because we get so excited for people, and your new EDs may not understand the train station thing yet. And they'll, they think that they failed, and guess what? They don't. Because remember, ownership. If a coach isn't getting it, it's probably not their trainer and their mentorship team, especially you guys, because you guys are all dialed in. If they're not getting it, it's not your fault. They're just not on the train. Go find more people, right? So this is the power of duplication. When your coach has 5 senior coaches, when you have 5 senior coaches, and you have this high FQV, guess what? You have shown you know how to acquire clients. You know how to support them. You know how to acquire coaches. You know how to train them. You know how to transfer all of these skills. You've actually showed it apprentice style, right? Isn't that great? It's all like, that's the whole business. You've shown them how to do it. And FIBC no longer needs you to transfer the skills, because they have all the skills. They have all the tools in the toolbox. And an FIBC is dialed in, and they are on training calls, which means when new things come out, they're going to pick them up, right? That's where the power of mentorship changes a little bit, because it's not that you don't have direct mentorship as a FIBC, you do, but you don't need direct mentorship as much as you need the leader mentorship that you get on those training calls, okay? Because you know how to do all this stuff. This is it. It's all just rinse and repeat. Let's see. Also, FIBCs do their own celebration calls, because guess what? They've sat through probably hundreds of them. They know how to do them. In fact, they probably knew how to do them a long time before, but we do them for them we're going to do them for you guys until you are an FIBC, because they do take a bit of time. And if we do them for you, then we give you time to fill your funnel, find more coaches, find more things, right? So we do those for you, and we do them for your coaches as FIBCs. Let's see. I'm going to make sure I say all the things I was going to say. Rinse and repeat. Okay, so here's the deal. If you want to have impact, if you want to create a large income, I don't really care what you want, whatever you want. If you want time freedom, it will happen as you help coaches go senior coach, and then help your coaches learn how to make senior coaches. That's kind of the whole thing. As they help people get to senior coach, they'll become EDs, right? I have learned for a long time, leaders were telling us, we want blended EDs, blended EDs, blended EDs. And I'll just tell you, the reason that I focus on helping them get that high FQV before I sit down and have a talk with them about, okay, we got a sponsor, which I usually don't have to have that conversation, because usually coaches pop up along the way, but I don't say a lot about it. I usually just try to help them fill their funnel with all these clients, and coaches pop up, they just pop up. But I wait until that 8,000 FQV if they have no coaches before I talk to them about it, because what we learned is these blended EDs with low FQVs, they weren't staying with it as much. Like, they were stepping off the train more often, and the coaches that were getting the high FQV before they really dialed in on that were doing better. So I'm not saying they don't need to drip coaching. I'm just saying it seems like the skill happens automatically over time. And at 8,000 or 10,000, when they're making 2,500 to 3,000 a month, you have a captive audience to talk about it. And they're starting to understand, like, I really don't want to call 50 to 100 people every week. I really don't. And so that's a good time to talk about it. Okay. I hope that's kind of clear. So basically, teach your coaches apprentice style, just the same way you're doing health assessments. You're just transferring all these skills, and the system makes transfer of skills so easy. It makes it so easy for us. I will tell you this. Let me stop my share, because I think that's, yeah. Okay. it's really hot in here. You cannot run with more than 2 coaches at one time, okay? And what do I mean by that? What I like to do and what Gina recommends is at the beginning of the month, ask yourself, what does my business need? What does my business need? Okay. And then, if you're a business, if you're like, oh, I just need more coaches, I need more senior coaches, I need more EDs, what does your business need? And then you ask yourself, okay, who has their hands raised? In fact, at the beginning of the month, you just might make a few calls and see where everyone's at and what they want to do, and then decide who your 2 are, right? Who has their hand up? And then run with those 2. If I'm running with a coach, that means they have a goal and they want it. And I am going to do whatever I can to help them cross the line. I can't do action for them, by the way, but I am going to help them cross the line. I'm going to check in and call them each week. And I'm going to give them a little pep talk and ask them where they're at and see. And by the way, a lot of times mid-month, I change my person because they said they wanted it. They started out okay. And then whatever, they petered out. And so I got to move on. One of your 2 might be yourself. It might be yourself. What your business might need is another coach in your business. And so you're one of the 2 and you pick one more, right? But one of the 2 could be yourself. It just means set a goal and make sure you get it done. Let's see. Okay, I think that's all I have. Does anyone have questions? No. Oh, Larry. Yes.
And yes, thank you. Like hearing this really painted the good picture. I love this. One thing I've really struggled with is when and how the referral letter, like it's just been, I don't fully get the use. I mean, I know what it does. That's not what I'm asking, but can you explain a little bit more of how I can utilize that?
Yeah.
And when and kind of when?
Gina sends the referral out once a month. She'll send it by email one month. The next month she'll text it. The next month she might Facebook message it every month. And she doesn't send it to her coaches, obviously. She sends it to clients, active clients, maybe inactive, like you kind of decide, but yeah.
So I have never, like I've done this. I mean, not like every month, but like, every couple months, and I mean, I've never like had a referral because of the referral letter. They've come other ways, but not.
I know, and that's okay. But it plants a seed in your client's mind that, oh, if
Okay.
I have, I could.
So even though it's not like I'm not doing it wrong.
Wrong. I think you're actually doing it right. I think one reason you don't have, I don't know why I'm so freaking hot right now. I don't know. I think one of the reasons why you are having why it seems like the referral letter isn't working is because it actually is working. You're just a sponsoring machine. So you successfully help your clients know that you taking the referral is not in their best interest. It's in their best interest to coach the person themselves. So I actually think that's why that's working for you that way. Yeah. Allison, did you have a question?
Yeah, no, I forgot what it was, but it has to do with, so I have like 4 coaches. 2 have been senior coaches. They weren't senior coaches in the last 2 months. But the other 2 are just kind of like staggering along. And Larry's been kind of coaching Polly. Polly is coaching her daughter-in-law, Corinne. So it's kind of this weird. And you said just, make sure you're calling them once a week. But I feel like, am I at a point where I need to be calling them like a couple times a week, or like instead of like, or once a week you give them a task? Like Corinne has made a side-by-side profile page. Polly has not. Like, okay, now that Corinne's done that, do I say, okay, let's do that? You know what I mean? I'm like, where am I like step-by-stepping that they're not actually getting it?
Okay, so if they're a baby coach, I will call them more than once a week.
Okay.
Because they're taking baby steps, and it doesn't take that long to learn a baby step.
Okay.
But I only give them a nugget at a time, right? But you and Larry need to work together because you both don't want to be baby stepping them, but it might be okay to like switch, like, or tag team it, you know, maybe you take over now, you and Larry can figure it out. But so baby coaches, if they're on the train, but if they're not getting on the train, I would put my energy somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah. Jen.
Okay, so you mentioned keeping an eye on who's on the Tuesday night trainings, but if we're not supposed to be, oh, never mind. The coaching one, we can be on the Zoom. Never mind, I answered my own question.
Yeah. Yeah, you can be on the coaching one. You're right. We cannot be on the client one because the room gets full. But you know what? You can still tell if people have watched them. I mean, when you call them and do your client check-in call, you can be like, oh my goodness, I was so inspired by this. What, did you love that? Or you know what I mean? And then they'll be like, oh, I haven't seen it yet. I'm like, oh, well, you know, there's a great link. I know this one, you'll really like it. But you can tell the ones, usually if they're on every week, they're like, they will start saying to you, I saw that call. Like, you don't even have to say, you've all had clients like that, right? It's kind of the same thing will happen with your coaches. But when you're on there, it is a good idea to check the participants for those coaches that said their hand was up. Right? Not everyone, and I wouldn't every week invite them because that's suffocating them. But, you know, okay.
Get anybody to do it.
Well, then they're not on the train.
I feel like I never have a client.
Jen just had a coach come on, and she is on the train. Jen, tell us how come you and I know she's on the train.
Because she got her cab in 2 weeks and brought 2 coaches with her.
Well, it's not only that. What else do we know about her? It's not even the results. It's the actions that we know.
Like, she brought up the cab more than I brought up the cab. She is calling me. She takes my calls when I call her. Boom, she answers the phone. She's begging for more. In fact, she asked, could we set up a separate business chat where you could put all the copy paste stuff so that I can find it because I'm losing it. And I'm like, well, we have this thing called a system. She's like, can I have it, please? So I gave it to her. She's all over it. Like, this girl is on. And she keeps
Jen, this girl needs to be one of Jen's too, because she calls, she takes the calls, she's asking questions, she's doing the stuff. When she asks for something and Jen gives her something, she does it. Like, she's not like, oh, I haven't had time. Right? Like, that's on the train. If you don't have someone on the train, like, I mean, you can limp along with one of them, but run with yourself and go find someone who wants to get on the train, right? Okay, Larry.
Can I just say real quick first, guys, I've been coaching almost 3.5 years, and this has never happened before. I saw some of your faces, you're like, I want that. Well, you know what? Like, this is the first time, and we hear Gina stories and stuff, but that doesn't mean they happen every day. And so, like, I've been preparing myself for the last 3.5 years to be able to handle this, and I may not get another one for another 3.5 years. I don't know, but like, don't get discouraged. Just doing it.
Yeah, don't get discouraged. I mean, and give, you know, whoever you have to work with, give them what they want, right? Just give them what they want, but don't spend a ton of energy on keep filling the funnel, keep dripping, keep looking for people. Like, I hope you guys hear my heart. Like, I don't want to leave anyone behind. It's just, I actually said to a leader this week, because they were all excited about the business builder bonus. And I was like, okay, I'm willing to meet with that coach and I'm not willing to meet with this one. She was like, what? And I said, it's not personal. It's just whatever's going on in her world. She does not have capacity for it right now. It's not the best use of my time. If you want to, then go ahead. That was my very direct way of saying, you can't run with all the people. So, like, don't run with someone that's not going to do it. She says all the things. She says all the right things. She's not doing them. So, like, let's move forward. Okay. Let's see. Larry, I think you are next.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a guy that is, he's senior coach, manager, right? Generally, that's where he's kind of at, right? And he seems to me very much on the train. He's doing the training calls. If he has to miss it, he's watching the recording. So, like Allison was talking about communication, right? Like, how can you explain a little bit about, because I feel like sometimes I'm like, okay, am I supposed to do something? Am I not supposed? I'm not sure clear how much communication, what I'm supposed to do once I have one like that. Like, I mean, I get what to do when I talk to him, but I don't know how much and like how to.
I don't think you need to talk to him more than once a week. I feel like at that phase, they have all the tools. They know what to do. They know where to find Power Hour. Like they just have to do the action.
So maybe sort of like what my conversation would be kind of about, hey, let's talk about the training.
Well, no,
What did you like about that? Or
no,
what?
I mean, you could. But I actually might go with. I might start out with, oh my goodness, I just noticed that you were super close to earning this much more money this month. Could we jump on a call and talk about it? And then I would talk to them and say, well, I do the Oreo thing. You're doing this so well. I'm so excited for you. I know we can help you earn this extra $80. What do you think? And then I'd lead with a question. What do you think you could do? Like, what do you?
So like, because the inspiration is the fuel.
Yes, you have to keep throwing fuel on the fire. It's just like
Okay.
You just have to
I
keep.
get that because I know him. Yeah, because I know my coaches. I know them. I just need to fuel their fire. Okay.
Yeah. That's from manager to ED. That's what they need: fuel and encouragement. That's really it. Like, just give them oxygen. They know what to do. They don't need skills from you. If they're doing everything they can and they're frustrated, then I would really go inspect and see if there's something missing. It's kind of like if a client's not making progress in their journey, then I will sit down and be like, okay, write down what you're eating, and I'll look over it and see, right? And just kind of inspect and see where we need to make an adjustment, because they might be missing something. They don't know what they're missing. And it's really hard when it looks like they're doing everything right. So make sure they know that they're doing about everything right. And they're working because sometimes they don't. People feel like a failure so easy. They're so hard on themselves. Okay, Allison.
I have a coach that I've been training just by having, and we've talked about this. She's at the point where I'm ready for her to make the calls to these clients that are under her that I've been training. But she's talking to them multiple times a week because she's friends with them. One's a neighbor and one's her neighbor's sister. So I feel like I don't know. I kind of feel like if I don't call them on Wednesdays, then they feel like I've dropped them.
Are they your clients or her clients?
They're her clients, but we set them up under her.
See, that's not in the system.
As a double.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's like she has a foot on the train, but she can't get the other one to step over onto it. And so I said, why don't let's sign them up under you, and I will give you the stuff to give to them, right? But then I was still doing first 4-day calls. And so now we're kind of past that, and I'm ready for her to call them, but she talks to them all the time. So I don't know where she sees that that's a separation. I confuse everything.
No, you didn't. I'm gonna do this thing. Hold on.
Right. Okay, I totally get that because that's how I feel.
I'm sure it's exhausting too, right?
It's kind of like I feel like she's still not committed.
So are you going to hang out trying to help her commit, or are you going to go on and find people that want to do it?
Right. But so then do I just continue coaching her?
I wouldn't have coached them in the first place. So no, tell them she can ask them how they're doing on the journey. She knows what to do.
That's my struggle. I don't want to feel like they are getting dropped.
No, she's paying for it. Just tell her, hey, you're ready. Ask them how they're doing each week on their health journey. Let me know, I want to know if there's problems. I'm here for you.
And then the other question is, that coach as well as another coach of mine just absolutely cannot do Facebook. And I know we've talked about why not, or what scares you, but they're just I'm a private person. I don't want to, I tagged this one coach in something. She's please don't do that to me. Please don't tag me in anything.
Okay, but what do they want?
As far as the the coaching.
Because what I'm hearing is what you want, but I want to know what they want.
Okay. So if they just, so one I know just wants to help if somebody comes to them.
Well, then she's never going to do Facebook. Except you might ask her, how will they know?
Yeah. And I think the other one, and the same thing probably with Beth, she's kind of like, well, I will help them if they ask me.
I said that in the beginning too. And then Gina was like, so how are they even going to know that you do this thing?
Okay.
Can I ask a question that kind of tags with that? Because I actually have a coaching couple who, yeah, we kind of had the explore of Facebook, right? They chose not to, right? Now, I mean, we saw yesterday she just signed up her sister. Is there a way that I could read? Because I had the call and they literally was like, yeah, we don't want to do Facebook, right? And so as far as program goes, but they live their life out loud like crazy, right? And so they're already still showing just their individual selves. Is there a way that I could maybe some wording or something that I could readdress what you just said?
Okay. Well, I know who you talk about, but I think they've been pretty clear they're not on the train. But if I were circling around to see if they wanted to get on the train, the first step would be, why would they want to get on the train? What would this?
The thing that sparked me was the fact that her sister, that they're going to coach your sister now. So
Yeah, but I mean, but why? What would it do for them? What bucket?
maybe like,
Is it impact? Is it finances? Is it time? Like, what is it?
I think it's got to be impact. At first, I thought it was finances, but I think it's got to be impact.
Yeah. So, and the next question is, do they see the potential as health coaches that they have to impact people?
Okay, so how could I help that?
I don't know. It's clear they don't see it.
Because I know they see my page. So maybe if I post kind of that way, like I did a live this morning that was kind of about the impact.
You could, but they may or may not see it. That's not really a straight shot, right? But were you having a conversation with them from time to time? If you were on the phone talking about something else, you could just drip impact.
I gotcha. Yeah, I like that.
But I would drip it because they've been.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
really.
I got good at dripping. Yeah, I can without. Yeah.
Yeah, and it might take a long time. Just circle around and drip every once in a while. But I wouldn't spend a lot of energy trying to get them on the train because they've even pretty much point blank said they don't want to get on the train. Right? Like that's what I heard. But good. Any other questions? These are really great questions. And by the way, most of these questions you guys are asking about, what I'm hearing is, how can I get this person to this? How can I get, the truth is, if they see where Optavia can fill this need, then they'll get on the train. If they don't see it, or they don't have a need, or then they're not ever going to get on. You can't drag them on. That's like locking arms with them and saying, I'm Travis, it's true. Come over here and look. It won't work. It won't work. They won't take ownership over it. You'll always be a puppet master. But I want you all to be, right? I want leaders of leaders. You guys want to be leaders of leaders. You know what? I've been under the weather. You all know this. And I've not been able to get on power hours because evenings are rough for me anyway, but this thing is worse than the evenings. I'm not able to get on all those evening ones. But guess what? It's not a big deal because there's a bazillion of you that can do them. It's not a big deal. And you can do them while you're working. Like, it's just not a big deal. It's fine. Like, I don't like that I can't be there. I tried to be on the other night while I was laying down to drain the stupid kidney. But the fact of the matter, because you guys are leaders, I had just always done that. And I had never asked you and put you out there to do it. We would not be in the situation. We would be in the situation of, we can't have power hours until I figure this out. So that's what you want with your, you want them to be able to do their business without you. That's the goal, right?
So you had made comment earlier, and I wrote it down because I was wondering if you could kind of paint a picture of maybe what you've seen of why this happens. You had said that blended EDs with low FQV tend to drop off.
Yeah.
Could you kind of paint a picture of like does that happen? Like,
It's different person to person, but I mean, if you think about it, if you have a coach with 3,600 FQV, they're making 24% on that, on 3,600, I think, if they're certified. And then they get a little bit for their 2 senior coaches, but they don't get a lot. So I really think that's it. And it's a bit of work, right? And I feel like they're trying to grasp onto all 4 things instead of just focusing on the 2 mostly, right? Instead of just focusing and getting confidence. It's not even that they don't have competence, it's that they don't have confidence and they don't feel like they know how to even acquire and take care of clients. And now they're starting to watch the coach thing. And so if it happens organically while we're encouraging them and leading them to a higher FQV, when they're at a higher FQV and they're earning 31% of 6,000, it's a lot different game, right? They're more invested, they have more ownership, and they have absolute confidence they can find and take care of clients. When they have 6,000, 8,000 FQV, they know. So then it's not like so much at one time to go and transfer those skills to other coaches. Yeah. Which is why we do it for them. It's also why, as an FIBC, I'll do all your celebration calls until you're an FIBC. So you have time to get really good at that and just focus, like take care of your clients, fill your funnel, but you don't have to think so hard about it. But now you can think really hard about, okay, I got to figure out how to help my coaches. Like, you know what I mean? I got to figure out how to teach them how to be senior coaches. I'm going to dial in on that. And then you're not spending time and energy on celebration calls. But by the time you're an FIBC now, like Larry and Jen and Sabrina are, now you know how to do all the things. You've watched your leader train a couple senior coaches. You've trained a couple yourself. You have 5 total. You're like, right? You know what to do. And then you can go and teach other people what to do. And that's the whole business. It's just senior coaches. Acquire clients and help them get to senior coach, and then just love them until they go to ED. Just keep loving them. But don't suffocate them, and don't become their puppet master because you want so bad for them to join you on the train. And I'll just tell you, it usually takes 10 to 12 coaches before you find 5. Usually an FIBC has to sponsor on their front line 10 to 12 coaches before they find 5 senior legs. So it's not that you're not doing it right. It's just like some people just don't want it. Okay, Allison.
Okay, I'm just clarifying. You said once they hit senior coach, then they have all the tools.
Yeah, well, no.
Okay.
All the tools.
I'm like, I don't know that I heard that right.
I don't think you did. When they're an FIBC, they have all the tools.
Right. So when they get up to senior coach and then they're working towards ED, you're still handing them stuff, or they now have the system, they know how to acquire clients and support clients.
Yeah. And so then you're just going to inspect what you expect on that, senior coach or manager to ED, inspect what you expect. You're going to encourage them, keep putting fuel on the fire, remind them why they're just like your clients. You have to remind them why they started, remind them what they're working for, why this was important to them. Right. I mean, Gina had to remind me all the time, you're posting on Facebook, remember, because you're hoping your mom will get on plan one day. And she's like, it totally happened. My mom's killing it on plan. But and so that is but I mean, it took 5 years before, but it would never have happened if I hadn't done the Facebook sheet. And so you're just reminding them why, you're encouraging them. You're like, oh my gosh, you're helping 10 people get healthy. Like, this is so cool. Thank you for paying it for, like, you're just loving them, encouraging them, because they know they do have the tools to support clients, and they may need help with some client acquisition a little bit, right? Because the Facebook stuff is actually quite a lot. But if you're watching their Facebook and giving them little nuggets on branding, and then you have plugged them into a power hour, and you've said, okay, if you do 3 or 4 power hours a week, this will help you get to senior coach. But now let's try to do like 5 or 6 a week because you want to be an executive director. Then they're going to learn a lot on those power hours. So that is, that's really all we have to do. to get them there, right? If they want it.
Right.
Don't want it, there's just no point. I mean, it's not, there's a point. Just once a month, circle around and see if you want to jump on this month, right?
Okay.
When you introduce Power Hour, do you basically like, hey, can we set a goal for like once a week, or do you just start small, or?
Yeah, what I first do is I would love to have you join us because we work together and it's so fun and there's a great sense of community. And then after they've been to one, I'm like, how was it? Did you love it? And they're usually like, oh yeah, that was amazing, right? We'd love to have you again. Like we're on there like all the time. And so, and then over time, a lot of times they'll come in if it works with their schedule. That's the hard thing. A baby coach, if it doesn't work with their schedule, they're not going to sacrifice for it because they're not making any money. It doesn't make any sense. I had a person say to me, I can't do Power Hours because it's during dinner. And I saw a leader say, oh, and I'm like, that won't work. Her family is not going to understand. When she's making $2,000 a month, they'll move dinner. Meanwhile, she's probably going to have to do it on her own and do it with us once in a while. Like that's just life. Like that's just how it is. There's no incentive until they've created the income, but they can create the income on the way, right? Like they can. It might take longer, but that's okay. A lot of people don't, they just don't, they don't want to do it today or this month. They're like, yeah, it would be awesome if in 15 months I could make $2,000 a month. I'm like, okay.
Okay, so I got another question with Power Hour activities. So I have two coaches that work graveyards, and what I think that with both their jobs, they could do activities in the middle of the night, but it's like, I mean, I guess that's something, right? I mean,
Yeah, if they could grab 10 minutes and do A to Z or something. It's hard though. I'm like, have you worked graveyard? I have too. It's brutal on your body. Like it is absolutely insane. So I kind of totally get that they're probably not doing that. On their days off, I would encourage them to do a full hour. I would encourage them to do branding. I would encourage them, if you can grab, if you have 10 minutes, grab it. If they do
yeah,
it.
both of them brand pretty okay, pretty okay.
Mhm.
It's just that next phase of, Facebook that it's like, how can we get that interaction going?
First step, what do they want?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They see that this step is going to help them get what they want. It always
And they see that because,
comes back to what they want. They need
right.
they need to
So
hear
if they,
you say what they want. And then you say, oh, well, and then I would give them a compliment. And I'd be like, oh, if I saw something that can help you get what you want, and I would back to them.
right. And it's like Jen dripping for like 3 months about Power Hours with me. Exactly. Okay.
You don't want to come across as the boss. You don't want to tell them to get on Power Hour. You want to inspire them to get on Power Hour. Okay, Allison. These are really, this is a long recording.
Oh, sorry. Dang it, every time this happens to me. Let me think. Come back to me.
I will say this about the Power Hour thing we just said, just so you all know, don't forget Allison, just so you guys all know, Jen said to me my business had doubled in the last 3 months because of doing Power Hour. And that boink got me.
But see, that's because Jen pointed out the results had already happened.
Mm-hmm.
If you can say, hey, you got on Power Hour and you picked up a new client like that, you know what I mean? Like you have to help them make the connection. Okay, Allison.
Okay, on our Power Hours at 6 p.m, who is invited to that?
Everyone.
Any coach that we have.
In our organization, don't invite Team Morris people, please.
Right. No. I'm not. But it's not just this training people. It's any coach. Okay, because I think that seems to be maybe a less intimidating when there's just a couple people.
Just that it's an awkward time for most people, but for a new coach, it could be really nice because if they can come on once or twice a week and then they start getting results, then they'll.
And I have a lot of.
They'll probably stop doing ours and they'll start doing Gina's, which is fine.
Right. Yeah, that's okay. No, I have like single people, like live alone people that could do it. So that's why I'm like, maybe I need to start here. And some that are like, computer challenged.
Invite them.
We're working on it. Okay.
Invite them.
Okay.
But don't, I mean, what you tell me about your coaches and what I can see in your business, what you need is more coaches.
I know. I think I have one coming. He wants to do it. So yay.
There you go. Yep. Good.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe I should talk about this. I'll ask you on a separate.
We're going to end the recording.
Yeah.